Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into The Matrix Resurrections, the 2021 sci-fi blockbuster that had fans waiting 18 whole years for answers. As the fourth installment in the Matrix franchise, the big question is, was this a triumphant return or a disappointing sequel? Let's jump into this mind-bending virtual world, full of philosophical questions and visual spectacle. Alright, let's rewind to 2003. The Matrix Revolutions wrapped up this groundbreaking sci-fi series with what seemed like a pretty final ending. Neo, our savior, sacrificed himself to save humanity and broker peace between humans and machines. But here's the thing, that perfect ending actually set up the foundation for this sequel 18 years later. The Matrix Resurrections takes place 60 years after the original trilogy ended. And get this, the relationship between humans and machines has completely shifted. Some machines actually chose to team up with humans to fight against new threats in the Matrix called anomalous disturbances. It's a clever setup that not only justifies why we need another sequel, but also reflects how AI technology has evolved in our real world. The opening scene is absolutely loaded with symbolism. Captain Bugs of the ship Mnemosyne discovers this old code running in an isolated Matrix simulation. This program is recreating the iconic scene from the first movie where Trinity tracks down Neo's location. But here's the twist, this Trinity isn't the real deal. She's a decoy who gets caught by the agents. This opening is pure genius, if you ask me. It's both a love letter to the original and a hint that this whole movie is gonna walk that fine line between nostalgia and innovation. So here's where things get really interesting. In the Matrix's virtual world, our hero Neo is back as Thomas Anderson, but he's not some nobody programmer anymore. This time around, he's a famous game developer who, and this is where it gets meta, created the Matrix trilogy video games based on his own dreams. Talk about life imitating art. The guy's popping blue pills like candy because he can't tell what's real anymore. His therapist, spoiler alert, he's the bad guy, keeps telling him it's all in his head. Meanwhile, Thomas keeps staring at this woman in a coffee shop who looks exactly like Trinity, but she's married with kids and goes by Tiffany. I gotta say, this section is probably the movie's strongest part. It shows the director's ability to be self-critical while cleverly blending reality and fiction. Just like Morpheus found Neo in the first movie, this time is young Bugs and the new Morpheus who come to wake up our sleeping savior. New Morpheus is a fascinating character choice. He learned everything about the original Morpheus through the Matrix video game, including all his catchphrases and philosophy. But his personality and style are completely different. When Thomas starts questioning his reality, his business partner Smith shows his true colors. Yep, it's our own nemesis Agent Smith. But this Smith is way more cunning and dangerous. He activates this swarm mode that instantly turns everyone in the coffee shop into weapons hunting Neo. This swarm mode scene is the movie's first real action climax. Dozens of regular people suddenly become synchronized killers, moving in perfect unison with identical expressions. It creates this overwhelming sense of dread and horror. This isn't just visually stunning, it's a deep commentary on modern society's hive mind mentality and online mob behavior. With help from Bugs and Morpheus, Thomas finally takes the red pill and awakens as Neo again. When he wakes up in his pod, he discovers he and Trinity have been imprisoned in special cultivation chambers, isolated from other humans. Here's where the movie gets really clever. The main villain isn't the familiar architect or Smith, but a completely new character, the Analyst. Neil Patrick Harris plays this role perfectly as a therapist who appears to help Thomas, but is actually the new Matrix management program that replaced the architect. The Analyst's design is incredibly smart and modern. Unlike the architect, who focused on logic and balance, the Analyst specializes in psychological manipulation and emotional exploitation. He discovered something mind-blowing. Neo and Trinity individually aren't anything special, but when they're together, the unknown energy they generate can actually suppress the entire Matrix system. This setup elevates love to cosmic-level importance. The Analyst uses this discovery to resurrect both of them and place them in the Matrix, keeping them close enough to generate energy but never allowing them to actually touch and lose control. When the Analyst reveals the truth at the auto shop, he demonstrates his powerful time control abilities, freezing everything around them. This scene isn't just visually impressive, it symbolizes how absolute power controls individual freedom. The Analyst's threat is simple: if Neo doesn't return to his pod, Trinity dies. I think the Analyst represents the evolution of the Matrix system. If the Architect represented industrial age mechanical rationality, then the Analyst represents information age psychological control. Facing the Analyst's threat, Neo makes a bold proposal. Let Trinity choose for herself. If she wants to leave the Matrix, the Analyst can't stop her. If she chooses to stay, Neo gets imprisoned forever. The core of this proposal is respecting individual free will, which has always been the central theme of the Matrix series. When Trinity, appearing as Tiffany, faces this choice, her family suddenly shows up trying to guilt-trip her into staying with emotional blackmail. But at the crucial moment, Trinity rejects this false identity and firmly declares that line that gives me chills every time. I hate the name Tiffany, I'm Trinity. Just when the Analyst is about to make his move, Smith suddenly appears to stop him. This twist is surprising, but totally logical. As a system virus, Smith naturally doesn't want to see the Analyst gain more power. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. This ancient wisdom applies just as well in the virtual world. The movie's climax happens on top of a skyscraper. Neo and Trinity are being hunted by the Analyst swarm mode and finally reach the building's edge. Facing life or death, they choose to jump. But here's what nobody saw coming. Neo has lost his flying ability, and it's Trinity who shows the power to save them both. This power transfer is the most revolutionary thing about the entire movie. In the first 3 films, Trinity was always the one being saved, while Neo was the superhero with all the powers. But in this movie, their roles completely flip. The movie ends with Neo and Trinity returning to the Matrix to announce their reform plans to the Analyst. They're no longer rebels running from reality, they're going to change this system from the inside. The final image of them flying together symbolizes equality in love and hope for the future. The Matrix Resurrections is an ambitious but controversial film. It tries to find balance between nostalgic feelings and innovative thinking, seeking compromise between commercial expectations and artistic expression. While it might not be as shocking in action scenes and visual effects as its predecessors, it breaks new ground in thematic exploration and emotional depth. The movie's biggest success is its courage to be self-reflective and self-critical. The questions it asks are more important than the answers it gives. What is real? How powerful is love? How do we maintain ourselves in a manipulated world? Overall, The Matrix Resurrections is a complex work that's both nostalgic and forward-looking, both commercial and artistic. For Matrix franchise fans, this is a journey that's both familiar and strange. For new audiences, it's a great chance to understand this classic sci-fi world. Alright, that wraps up today's movie breakdown. Whether The Matrix Resurrections is a triumphant return or a disappointing sequel, I think every viewer has their own answer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.